Connection with Shade Network activated. Audio file download commencing. Files marked extremely sensitive. Strategic Homeland Division only. Agent, commencing transmission.
What's up, agents? You listen to episode 174 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of the Division 2. This week, the State of the Game is back, and there are some big changes planned for Title Update 6. But first, my name is Mike, and joining me as always are my co-hosts Robert.
Hello.
And Luke.
Hello.
All right, boys.
All right, boys.
Hope you guys and our listeners have had a great week, and welcome to any new listeners of the show. Before we get started on what is going on in the world of the Division, how you been, boys? Good? Robert, you're very quiet.
Yeah.
Standard.
You guys are very enthusiastic. What the hell's going on?
Well, you were pretty enthusiastic like 5-10 minutes ago when Luke wasn't here.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Would you like me to leave stage left?
No. I don't remember being that enthusiastic. I remember being annoyed.
Annoyed.
Is that something you want to share with the group, or
No.
Is it
It's going
because
to come
we
up
have
a lot in this episode?
Is it because we haven't played Ewok Hunt together this week?
No, I'm not fussed about that at the moment.
Luke's face is just like really sad now. Luke, how's your week been?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Whole week so far. I'm doing good.
What, at work?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday, dude. Calm down.
True. Still time.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll find a way to skive off of work either tomorrow or Friday.
Well, I get a half day Friday anyway, so.
For fuck's sake.
Anyway, let's get down to some news.
State of the game.
Okay, so the State of the Game returns this week as Hamish was joined by Nikki as one of the senior game designers who works alongside Thylander and Rasmus, and he was basically brought on to discuss some of the big changes in Title Update 6, which we've been waiting for how long now? Rob? When was the last title update?
I don't know. Can we call Nikki the loot guy, though, please? Because you know how they all got their own... Like, Rasmus is the crafting guy. Thailand is the gun guy.
I agree with this proposal.
What
is it? Seconded? There you go.
The
You just
loot
have to
guy.
carry the motion. Like,
Motion carried.
there you go.
Is it wrong? I feel really sad that John Burko's gone now.
Can we not talk about politics, please?
You had it right the first time. You say bollocks.
I had to stop myself.
I know, but come on, can we have a moment of silence for John Burko? Because
It'd be alright. It'd be in the jungle in November. It's fine.
I fucking hope so. The guy's hilarious. Anyway, enough about that shit.
In the jungle? What the fuck are you on about?
Celebrity, dude.
Mate,
Celebrity,
it's
get
literally
fuck
the
out.
only reality TV I watch, but it is fucking excellent. Fight me.
He will. Friday, 27th of September, Bristol.
Let's get it on.
It will be streaming from Luke's laptop.
It fucking won't.
Anyway, obviously we're here to talk about Title Update
6.
Rob, what do you want to talk about first, dude?
Well, let's just go and do it in order, shall we? What they discussed on State of the Game.
Well, if you want. So gear sets. Gear sets are being amended. They're currently, you need 6 pieces to have a full set and unlock all the talents across the gear sets. But what's changing, Robert?
You only need 4 pieces to unlock them. And the backpacks and chest pieces are getting additional shit, right?
Yeah, they're getting an additional high-end gear talent. Luke, how do you feel about the change? Because, I know we've discussed this before, but the fact that this is actually going to be a thing in the game.
I like the 4-piece change. I think that's a good idea. We discussed it on the show before. I think they briefly hinted at it on Twitter. I think it was Thylander that put that tweet out a couple of months ago. Because, the gear sets are pretty shit as they are now anyway. Quite underpowered, with maybe one exception. But yeah, so making them 4 pieces now lets you bring in the high-end pieces to add a couple of talents on. the fact that they're now giving you a high-end talent on a gear set chest piece and a gear set backpack is possibly OP.
I don't understand why they picked a backpack.
There must be a reason. This must have been tested. I mean, we're gonna have to see what happens. But now that's obviously switched to like a 4-piece.
What 2 pieces of high end will you use with that?
Well, either that or an exotic. I'm already thinking the Black Tusk gloves, BTSU gloves. Yeah, straight away. With one of the builds, anyway. With one of the gear sets, the electronic skill build one. So I can't think off the top of my head.
Ongoing directive, is that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Which is quite cool because I think you have to currently run you only need to run like a 3-piece version of that to get all the talents anyway. For the ones that actually mean anything.
Yeah, you'd have to assess it gear set by gear set, wouldn't you? Because, I mean, obviously, if you're going to get high-end talents on a chest and a backpack, they're givens to run as gear set pieces now anyway, I guess. And then pick the other 2 from the 4 that are left that allow you to put, like, what's one of the specific talents you can get on knee pads? I can't remember what the fucking talents are called. It's been that long since I played the game.
Well, I'm just thinking now, like...
Patience. You could have patience knee pads and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but you have patience knee pads. I don't know. Obviously, chest and backpack getting the additional high-end gear talents. Do we know if they're static, Rob?
No.
So these could be random.
No, as in I don't know whether they're static.
No, it is RNG based still. Any talent that can roll on a chest piece, on a high-end chest piece, can roll on a gear set chest piece.
I'm thinking straight away, like on... It's really bad.
I think I would still use a Femra's chest.
Well, yeah.
Because of the double talent.
Well, you'd have to weigh up the pros and cons, wouldn't you?
And then probably a mask for DT.
Well,
I'm thinking of raid builds, though. And my mind just ultimately goes towards doing a raid.
What is it? Unstoppable and Unbreakable on chest? Imagine having that on a raid piece. And then you have something like...
No, you'd only get 1, not 2.
Yeah, what do you mean? You can't have both of those.
No, I know you could, but I'm saying like if you have one or the other on the chest piece, and then you have something like on the ropes on the backpack, and then you've got 4 pieces of raid gear, and then BTSU gloves, and then like Luke said, patience. That's some pretty... It's either OP or that's a pretty fucking diverse build at that point, isn't it? That's really interesting to see where we're going to take that. It kind of ties into something we're going to talk about later with regards to recalibration, which we've talked about before, but I am interested to see your thoughts now that it's actually going to be a thing. Are you guys happy with the fact that we've moved to a 4-piece variant?
We'll see. I'm still... I don't know what's going to happen. I'm a little bit scared.
We had 4 pieces before, didn't we? So 6-piece hasn't worked. I think they probably tried that because of the classified sets, but they're not as strong as classified sets, are they, at all? It's kind of like they needed to get them in a good place first before bumping them to classifieds, but they've kind of gone straight in with 6-piece. Luke, sorry, dude.
I was just going to say, I think that particular change is a good one. Like I said before, I'm not sure about how the chest and backpack piece is going to work in OP and all that bollocks, but move to 4 pieces is good because you seem to be giving up too much to run a gear set as opposed to what talents and how powerful you could be if you're running a 6-piece high-end build. So to be able to pull in 2, 3, 4 high-end talents as well as getting your gear set bonuses, it was either that or completely rework the gear sets as 6 pieces to make them more powerful. And this is probably the easier version of doing that. So
yeah, I was going to say at that point, what are you going to add to existing gear sets that isn't going to break the game, or it must be difficult. And I wouldn't say difficult, but it must be interesting to come up with a gear set, make it fit the game, and then it's not powerful enough, so you're trying to keep like adding to it to make it better, but then you've got all the other gear sets as well, which kind of throws it all over the place. Rob, how do you feel about the fact that the chest and backpack will only be exclusive to the Raid with regards to the Raid gear sets.
No, that makes sense. I'm a little bit miffed about the freaking hardwired. Is it hardwired? Being in the loot pool now.
Yeah, they've now said any craftable gear sets are now in the loot pool.
I spent hours on that.
Thank God I didn't bother with that shit.
Luke, what do you reckon? Are you happy with the fact that they've still got a couple of pieces from the Raid sets actually tied to the Raid? Because I was a bit like, what? They're taking all the gear sets out and adding them to the other loot pools. I was like, what the fuck? And then obviously that's the having the high-end gear talent attached to it kind of gives you that buff, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I think personally I would still like the Raid gear sets to be exclusive to the Raid. But
thing is, I was really unclear
on
that when they started talking about it. They didn't really make... They said it a couple of times, but they didn't really clarify what was going to be Raid exclusive and what's not. So I guess we'll just wait and see.
The Raid exclusive gear sets, the backpack and the chest pieces from those are still Raid exclusive. Everything else from the Raid gear sets will be in the general loot pool.
But it means people can... This is what we kind of said. It's kind of difficult because you need because those gear sets are Raid specific to do the Raid. You now have the opportunity to go farm and get 4 pieces, whatever they end up being, anything but the chest and backpack, and then go into the Raid and actually be able to do it now. Whereas you might not have had the gear. You kind of needed to play the Raid to get the gear sets to get better at doing the Raid, and now that isn't the case. So it's kind of like they've took that step out of the way for a lot of people that kind of struggle to put a build together, especially like the gear sets and that. Brand sets is changing. Very interested to see what Luke thinks about this. So with title update 6, you are going to be able to find brands for all slots with regards to backpack, gloves, vest, knees, and chest, with the exception of 511.
I want a vest and a chest.
Vest and chest. Mask. Not fucking vest and mask. Chest.
When he was listing them all out, I was like, he's going to fuck this up.
Yep.
So all 6 slots, you can have the same brand set.
Any slots are gold.
Apart from 5.1.1 for some reason.
Yeah, well, they said it's a real world thing that they don't make specific items for all the slots. So they're keeping it that way. Which I guess makes sense. Seeing as it's all based on actual 511 gear anyway.
Okay.
But Luke,
Hi.
we talked about this. How do you feel?
I don't like this change, I'll be honest. I don't like the theory of this change. We'll check it and test it and what have you, won't you? But
well, we discussed this like prior. For those that didn't hear the episode, you were before the division was. I'm pretty sure you said something along the lines of before the division was coming out. You were already pre-theory crafting gear based on what we'd either seen from gameplay or Twitch streams or from beta access, and then trying to theory craft putting builds together, and then realizing that not every slot had a brand attached to it.
Yeah, obviously before the game came out, I mean, we played it at Gamescom, so we knew very few snippets of information, and then different streams gave you different screenshots, and people were like pulling out 2-piece talents from this and 3-piece talents from that and whatever, and a general picture got formulated, didn't it? And it was just like, oh, well, if you run 2-piece of this and 3-piece of that and put in one of these pieces, you get this much crit hit chance on an SMG, extra damage build, blah, 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 blah. And then the gear sheets come out and it's like, yeah, you can't do that because you can't have this piece and this piece and this piece. It's like, oh, wow. Somebody must have spent literally days of their life figuring that out. And then they've taken all this hard work and just thrown it out the window. But, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to be too critical because we haven't tried it yet. It might be fine. But I don't think it will be.
Really 6-piece Alps. It's going to be amazing. Just
It
all
does-
those stupidly high numbers.
Like, I know we haven't gone over everything yet, but it does scare me with certain things happening, how the meta is going to go. I wonder if we're going to get stupid stuff like that, Rob. 6-piece Alps.
I'm going to try it.
I know you love the Alps set, so that does not surprise me one bit. Rob,
Mm-hmm.
what is happening with named items? Because you were a little bit wound up about this, I believe.
Well, mainly because I had already, they've literally taken an idea we had on the podcast, if not last week, the week before. Well, I don't know whether it's my idea or whether they've just thought of it and we just guessed what they were going to do.
I would go with the latter, since if we said it only 2 weeks ago, they'd worked fucking fast to put that in.
Yeah, but this has happened quite a lot in all the news that we've had today. I'm just saying, we are either really good guessers or...
I'm gonna go with the fact that we're really good guessers.
Really good
this
guessers,
isn't the
'cause-
first time.
Well, we're here every fucking week. We probably cover every base eventually.
If we keep guessing, then we'll
Yeah,
at
but
least
no,
hit.
some of them are really specific. To the
Yeah,
point of
what-
it being kind of spooky.
The standing joke when we were doing the podcast for Division 1 was that you were on the payroll because they were stealing all your ideas.
Well, yeah,
I
that's
wish
why
I
we were
wasn't
putting
a
out.
hero.
That's why we were putting out those IFMs.
Yeah.
Ideas for massive it was effectively a joke, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like a good discussion point as well. And it was just like,
It's happening again,
Oh.
boys.
what, we've gone off track.
No.
Well,
Still
that
our
too,
ideas.
but well, yeah. I mean, look at the Division 1. We were like, oh, we want dynamic spawning and all the rest of it with NPCs, much like what was it, GTA? Oh, lo and behold, Westside Pierce. There you go. But yeah, you're on about named items, dude.
Yes, they are introducing... Well, there is some named items already in the game, but they're kind of meh. But they're introducing 35 new ones, which also include gear, which is going to be interesting. And these are going to be like... They're going to have unique talents that are going to be specific to the name. And they're going to be they're going to be achieved or gotten from difficult... sorry, it's finding it hard to talk.
Do we need to phone a doctor? Are you having a
Just the
stroke?
left side of my face dropping.
I
can't see it.
can't see it. Oh my god!
That was kind of scary. Yeah, so the harder difficulty stuff you're going to be getting these drops from, and I believe they said, well, we'll go on to that later, but I think the Dark Zone is going to be one of the main places to get these as well.
Yes, which we definitely need incentive for at the minute because there's not much incentive to go in there.
Incentive, yeah, a word we've been saying a lot recently.
I don't know. I feel like I've been saying circumvent recently quite a bit, but there we go. I mean, that's where I work.
I swear to God, if the named items you get from PvE work really well in the Dark Zone, and the ones you get in the Dark Zone work really well in PvE, I'm going to scream.
What are you going to scream?
Rock up in Malmo with his fucking checkbook. Give me some money, motherfuckers.
No, he's just going to rock up outside the front door and just go, motherfucker!
Although they're not stealing the idea from me, I just suggested they should do it.
But the interesting thing about the named weapons is something you were on about pinnacle weapons, weren't you? It was like taking existing weapons with existing talents, and the fact that you're basically not only grinding for these specific weapons, but the reason you're grinding for them is they've got a static talent, but it's a perfect version of that talent, isn't it? So I think Hamish said it's something along the lines of like the normal talent might have, I don't know, 10% of whatever not attribute, but whatever the talent does. But on these named items, you're going to get an extra percentage, like say 15% for it,
right?
Instead. So it's kind of like you're honing your build even more, but without it being too OP. But like you said, it really depends on the named items at the end of the day, doesn't it? Because how many people actually run around with named items? bear in mind you can't recalibrate the talent onto anything else.
That's what I was just going to say. It's all right being a perfect version of an existing talent. If the talent's shit, the perfect version's still going to be shit, isn't it? So,
and the two other talents on say weapons are RNG as well. So
correct.
You could get a really badly rolled one.
Well, hopefully that gets better with regards to the loot pool. I feel like it's a good segue to kind of move on to some loot talk. Or a terrible one. Anyway, yeah, so they basically said that there's huge issues with the loot pool. I'm sure you've heard us discuss it for weeks now, I believe. And it's going to get even worse by the sounds of it.
Yeah, all the things we've just talked about have just made the RNG fucking 10 times worse.
This is one thing.
Because I was like panicking during the state of the game. I was like, why are they doing this to me? They're introducing all this new shit. They're just making that's not even helping the RNG at all. This is bad. And then they said the loot changes, and I was like, okay, that makes sense now.
Okay, so with regards to the loot changes, in TU6, the idea is once you reach World Tier 5, you're going to be able to narrow down the loot pool and target farm, gear, and weapons, as well as mods and skill mods, which I think is pretty cool. And funny enough, like I know we've been having discussions about this over the past couple of weeks, but It was last week.
Was
it last week?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a look, and we were talking about this back in July.
Yeah, but we rediscussed it again.
Yeah.
And what we talked about last week is pretty much exactly what they're doing, which is kind of spooky.
Yeah, the only thing is last week I think was more along the lines of modifiers, like having selected modifiers for missions and all the rest of it. But this is like map wide. This is big. Kind of took what we kind of thought and put it across everything. And we discussed it kind of back in July, which was having set areas like districts to go get certain pieces of gear. And this just looks, I'm assuming you've both seen the map they put out there, but it was absolutely insane how it kind of scares me how much loot we have to actually change.
That was an overlay. You don't have to have that on the game. They said
no. I know.
Are you saying they stole our idea from July, Mike?
I'm just saying, I know we've been talking about this like the past couple of weeks, but we have been thinking about this for like nigh on a couple of months now. So it's quite interesting the fact, like Rob said, it's in the game. But I'm cool with it. It's something hopefully that's going to narrow down the loot for a lot of people. So, Rob, what's actually happening with the targeted loot?
But to be honest, I kind of missed this part of the state of the game because I was laughing to myself.
Why?
Well, just because it was funny. But I remember seeing the map and how like each area has like either an icon from a brand or a weapon type. So you can obviously go to those areas and just farm specifically those things.
I think there's even areas with regards to if you want to farm a pair of gloves. Did you see that? I'm pretty sure it was just like not even on missions, because I saw on a couple of them, like on a mission there was a holster, on another mission it was Providence, and then something else. But I know
the missions and that have already got that. They've already got, you get a chest piece, you get a holster, you get a weapon.
But they've made it more dedicated to the actual brands now.
Yeah, but yeah, you can.
But these,
it's like on top.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be the bit you missed. So you still get. They need to work on the values because they're obviously aware that you get a lot of loot from a lot of places, so they might dial some bits back so that they can add these bits on top of. But if you are supposed to get a chest piece from a specific mission, and then you happen to be doing that mission on a day when you get another chest piece, you'll get 2 chest pieces.
Yeah,
because it's like I say, it's on top of.
Well, that's one of the main things they said about though, wasn't it? They don't want to fuck around with the current loot system, because the loot system is good. It's just you're not getting what you want. So at least now you're going to have targeted locations that you can actually see on the map to go farm these things. The other thing as well is that it's dynamic. So
changes daily.
Right? Yeah, I was going to say, I believe it changes daily. So you're not playing the same content as Hamish put it, Barrett's chest, which I know, like, Rob, you fucking hated running that mission towards the end to try and get that chest.
Yeah, but then we did it for fun.
Yeah.
During
classifieds.
Yeah.
Was it classified? Yeah, events. Global events. Yeah.
It was the best mission, wasn't it? For
mindless
time versus reward, and literally just let's take the piss out of each other for half an hour while we get free shit.
So it's going to be guaranteed as an additional drop in missions, drops in the open world from named bosses, and completing open world activities. The Dark Zone, Robert,
is a named area.
Is now a named area, which means you can loot it from containers, enemies, named bosses, which also give you guaranteed drops of whatever is farmable on that day.
Always contaminated as well.
I like that.
I was going to say, which means what, Luke?
I can steal other people's shit.
Well, it means they need to be extracted.
Well, yeah, it means I can steal it.
And you can't see the roll.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah. You don't know until it's in your stash whether it's God roll or not. It's good.
I like that change.
Good.
I like. Go on.
Sorry. No, go on.
I like that. If it's in a particular area, and they were talking about its bosses, you could just go and farm control points if you want, and just keep spawning bosses, and it will give you the targeted loot that you want. So you don't have to go and do like mindless running of mission after mission after mission after mission. It's literally anything that gives you a boss will give you some targeted loot from that area that you are.
Yeah, in that area. And then you've obviously, because if you look at the missions as well, the missions are completely different. So there's a good chance that even though you've got an area, you can go run like a completely different mission that might actually relate to the piece that you're chasing after as well. So that's really cool. I don't know how you guys, when we were discussing it earlier, I was obviously, I don't know if we even discussed weapons, but how do you feel about having set places to go farm for like an SMG or an assault rifle? And then also you've got gear mods and skill mods. Is this a better way of going to find those things? Because I think before we always kind of thought along the lines of just gear and brand pieces.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't think we ever discussed the fact of having this system in place for weapons. I think I always thought of it from the point of view of how many pieces of gear and gear sets that we actually have versus other things as on top of that. But if you think about it, it's a really good idea to add gear mods and skill mods in there, as well as having dedicated loopholes for the weapons.
Yeah.
I personally never went far enough down the rabbit hole to include mods.
No.
So I like that they've gone above and beyond with their thinking on that. I'm not sure how much I'll actually chase mods, because you're going to get, like we said before, you're still going to get those drops anyway. But some people might want a very specific mod for a very specific build, so that gives them a better chance of getting what they want.
Yeah, mods are min-maxing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, Rob. What were you doing when people were farming the purple mods? One point, the blue mods. Sorry,
I was farming the blue mods.
Yeah, but obviously, but what did you had a dedicated route to go find those?
Yeah,
you had to go get the orange,
the orange caches.
The orange supply drop caches. And now, instead of doing that,
I kept doing that once they changed the blue, because it was still a good place to get decent mods.
Yeah, but if you don't know about that, do you know what I mean? Now you can actually, because the thing is, like, you know about that, but not everyone knows about that. Not everybody looks on YouTube and all the rest of it. It just feels like they're trying to make the whole system easier for everyone to kind of understand where you're supposed to get all these loot drops from. I think that's it.
Do you guys think this will achieve the required results? Because let's not beat about in the bush. They've introduced more loot at the same time as introducing this change for you to be able to access the loot that you want. So with all the named items and named weapons and extra brand pieces that you can get that you couldn't get before, there's now more stuff for you to get at the same time that you can get what you want from specific places. So is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better? Or do you think it's going to plateau and still be in the same sort of where you're still bashing your head against the screen because, you can now get what you want, but there's more for you to sift through whilst you're getting it?
No, I think it's a good change. Especially the Dark Zone bit. I feel like this is going to force, because that's what I'm going to be going for. Is going to be going for all the name stuff. First of all, and getting good rolls of that. And if that means spending lots of time in the Dark Zone, I imagine a lot of people are going to have the same idea.
Which means you're talking my language now.
Which means it's going to be a little bit more populated. Which means if next week they just talk about PvP changes and
they add another 20 people to the Dark Zone.
I know that's not happening, but if the changes are good, then this game might take a U-turn.
That would you've literally just said my number one requirement for next week. Make the Dark Zone servers more populated. I know. I don't think it will come, but if you were to put a gun to my head right now and say what one thing will make the Dark Zones better, just bigger servers, more players. If you're given us specific stuff to chase after in the Dark Zone, and whilst you're getting it, it is contaminated, so people have got the opportunity to steal it from each other.
So you have to do the cycle.
Yeah. That's what we've been saying before when we did the PvP episode, wasn't it? The cycle was missing completely, and the players obviously,
and the incentive.
They've potentially fixed the incentive in the cycle in one fell swoop. Put the players in there
to a degree, though. To a degree,
to a degree, yes. But
if you loot it, they will come.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like, does the loot pool for targeted drops also count gear sets? That would be quite interesting, because maybe there's like a gear set that is specific on the Dark Zone for like a day, and then everyone's in there chasing that.
Do you know what? I don't remember seeing gear set.
It might not be the case. It might be like they're trying to keep it like not as rare as exotics, but a similar kind of case. I mean, we know certain exotics aren't that rare in the Dark Zone anyway. If anybody wants a pestilence, give me a call. I think it's definitely a good change.
Cool.
I'm surprised we're getting it so soon, and it's a lot of loot now in the pool. But at least I'm kind of thinking, if you just need a pair of gloves, you're not chasing it for like a whole week and not knowing where the hell you're going to get it from. It's literally just chance at that point. But I'm kind of thinking, yeah, you can go to an area and go farm for a pair of gloves, but how many different pairs of, now they've changed it, how many different pairs of gloves are going to drop? Do you know what I mean? What's the chance of you getting that pair of gloves that you want from that area after farming it?
Well, you can either do that, or you can go to the area with that brand set you want.
Or you can craft it.
And craft the pair of gloves, yeah.
Because that's the other side.
Going to the area that's specific to the brand set of the gloves that you want would be
everything you get.
The more efficient way of doing it, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I think it's 16 brand sets, but only the possibility of rolling 6 pieces from said brand set. So yeah, go to the brand set area rather than the glove area.
We're kind of thinking
pro strats right here.
Yeah, pro strats. Unless you want 5-1-1, then you're fucked.
Well, yeah. I'm kind of thinking on top of that, though, is like how many we actually get as a is it just 1 additional? Or is it 2? How many additional drops are we going to be getting?
Perks on 5-1-1 gear.
Trash. Don't worry about it. You'll never want a 3-piece.
I know, but I'm just...
Well, currently, and they may change them because, work in progress, but currently the 1-piece brand set for 5-1-1 is 5% protection from elites. So, trash. 2-piece is plus 10% incoming healing, trash, and the 3-piece is plus 10% weapon handling, so trash.
Yeah,
They could do with buffing those.
I was
first
thinking
two.
there might be a hidden reason why they haven't added the 6-piece for.
The pieces that they come on are the chest piece, which you would never ever run, the backpack, which you'd never ever run, and the gloves.
I run 5-on-1 backpacks because they.
You don't.
I have in the past because they run double passives.
Yeah, but that's changed as well now, hasn't it? You can just put whatever mod slots you want in.
No,
not yet.
No passive talent.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, sorry, that was me being a muppet.
Right, okay, let's move on. So that's loot pretty much done. I guess we have to see how that kind of pans out in the near future. Recalibration crafting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go straight into one that I don't know if I'm interested to see what Luke. A lot of this is kind of like
why
Luke,
me?
because Rob's already raged at me a little bit anyway. But I don't know. Because you're probably out of all of us more, especially in the Division 1, the PvP go-to, if you know what I mean. And I feel like this kind of reflects that, but then Rob's also builds as well. So the fact that the stat restriction has now been removed, so you're able to recalibrate any stat to another stat. So you can change a red to a blue or to a yellow, offensive to defensive, etc. Does that make your blood boil, or are you pretty happy with that change?
It's potentially. Oh no, I'm not Luke.
No, go for it.
It could break the game.
Yeah, it could. I'm in a forgiving mood today, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, it could completely destroy the world as we know it.
I'm a mindset that they might clamp the cap down a little bit when you do that, so you can't have too many offensive stuff.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if they're now going to start adjusting the requirements for talents, because that kind of goes hand in hand with this. Because I kind of think like we've been saying for a couple of weeks, bring the pie back, make the pie mean something again. So make your stats like if you're dealing into DPS. So if you're running all offensive stats, that should give you more damage, but you should be more glass cannon in theory. If you're all blues, then you should be more of a tank player. Kind of feels like that's the direction this is kind of going. You could actually do that now. I'm not saying that's how it's going to pan out with the meta, but I feel like that's definitely a case. It could kind of, or definitely a direction it could go.
See that with you mentioning the meta there, that's what I was thinking the whole time you were talking. Then it's like none of this addresses the 3.11.7 meta. Nothing that they've said in the state of the game changes that. If anything, it makes it easier to get to because you can now change your stats.
Yeah, but if they've raised the requirement for certain damage, like self-healing and all the rest of it, talents to reflect this change, then we could be moving towards a better meta that's reflected through stats.
I agree, but at the moment, that's an if. And as we stand at the moment, it's not something that they discussed like at all. They didn't even hint at it.
I think this is something that's going to have to be tested. Sorry, Rob.
Can we change the colour of the mod slot?
Not yet. They are thinking about it, I believe. Rob, what do you think of it?
Yeah, like I said, I think they might clamp down the cap, or they might. I feel like they might generalize the amount of stats that you have on each piece of gear, because you know how some of them have 4, some of them have 2, some of them have 3. I'm thinking chess pieces specifically. Why not just have them all 3? Because then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, simplify it. So, like, chest has 3 stats, backpack has 2 stats, or something like that.
Yeah. But this and the only thing that differentiates would be the brand set talents.
Yeah. that would definitely reduce it, because at the minute you've got. That's an interesting point, to be honest, because if they start adding additional pieces of brands into the pool as well, I mean, are they all going to have the same amount of stats allocated? Or are we going to have like these varied, like a set of needs with one or two stats? Or
that's why I said at the beginning, earlier, the Alps tend to have less stats, but the stats tend to be higher. So like an Alps mask might only have one stat on it, and it'd be stupidly high.
The only thing, like with regards to what they said, though, there's nothing been said about the overlap, has it? So either it's too late to change it with regards to the stats.
Yeah, there's some big omissions from today's state of the game, wasn't there? And I don't just mean the fact that they didn't talk about PvP, etc. So I mean, from the stuff that they talked about, there's still some big omissions.
Yeah,
I feel
obviously.
Like,
Oh, go on.
I feel like that maybe that's because it is going to be part of the PvP talk, because some of this is going to affect PvP in quite a big way.
Yeah, what you're changing the game again. It's not like one thing you're changing. Do you know what I mean? It's not even changing gear sets to a 4-piece, then allowing exotic to run with gear sets, and then you're now changing stat. You're able to run like, trying to think, aces and eights. Do you need to hit a set amount of damage for that? Stat requirement for it? I don't think you do you? You just have to run a 4-piece. But aces and eights gives you additional damage, right? Or at least to your team. But then you can run either tank. You could run that as a tank.
More now, you just started me theory crafting. Now I'm thinking True Patriot with the exotic holster.
The reload one.
Yeah, no, the one that you can have to use a pistol. So it's literally, that's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, which one am I thinking of? The holster with the reload. Pass. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I mean, do you think they need to raise the cap on talents if they do this, Rob? Well, I say if it's happening.
I don't know. Yes. The
way I see it though is like someone's literally just going to go, fuck it, I'm gonna stack everything into red.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah, like you can raise the talent requirement. You can now change what stat you have, what color. So this is irrelevant. You could put 15. People would get there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get there whilst unlocking some red talents, would you? That's the thing. They haven't. None of these changes so far, as far as I can see, and we had 5 hours to digest it. Nothing has changed the 3.11.7 meta.
Yeah,
just made it easier to get to, if anything,
and easier to farm. If you know what I mean, it's easier to farm, and you're changing stat for stat.
Well, if everyone else got the same build, it's balanced.
I mean, the man's got
you're
a point.
Not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong.
That just brings you back to everybody's.
This is where mods come into play.
Hated Alpha Bridge meta from the first game.
Yeah, but if you've got God roll mods, you'll be a king in the dark zone.
I don't know.
This is where you start laughing because you've got all the best mods.
Because I farmed them.
Because you farmed them for months on end.
Yeah, he farmed those mods, but he hasn't got any freaking skill mods. We found that out on the last.
I don't
BTS.
use skill builds, so it's fine. Fuck you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just seems a little bit crazy they would do that and not change anything to do with talents.
Like I said, we'll see over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess. With regards to recalibration,
done that.
Obviously, no, we've got a couple of bits. So I know you mentioned it briefly. They are looking into changing the color type of your mod slots, much like the stat to stat change with regards to offensive and defensive. I'm wondering if they will put that on a PTS, but we'll find out soon. And they've now said that if you have a stat on a backpack or another gear piece, you can move it from one piece to another, and it's not locked anymore. So if you've got a talent on a backpack that didn't previously roll on another backpack, then it is now able to be moved across no matter what.
Well done, you just successfully confused everyone that was listening.
Agreed. Let's move on to crafting. You could have stepped in, dude.
Hey, I would have just brutalized it even more.
Brutalized it. Right,
yeah.
okay.
With my good speaking words.
Can we have some woos? Can we have some woos now? So they are raising the material cap.
Woo!
You're going to now be able to share materials across all three characters.
Which they had in the last PTS, but they decided not to use it.
Yeah, let's not put that in. You will now get. Hey, let's talk about something obvious. You will now get more material drops from materials.
See, I read that earlier and I thought you'd made a typo there, but
What?
get more material drops from your materials.
So when you get
when
materials,
you're looting material caches, you get more materials.
yes. There's also what's the other one? If you're farming for a set type of material, and like often the boxes have a chance of like one or two,
Yes.
you now have the ability to have both drop at the same time.
Fucking A.
I know. All those times I was freaking chasing after carbon or electronics or some shit.
Polycarbonate.
We need another woo for when you are full of materials, materials will no longer drop. Scavenging containers in the open world will now drop both materials, as I said, and there's a chance that you will get polycarbonate from deconstructing items. And apparently crafting will also be cheaper, and you don't need to use as much grey and brand materials.
That's a good change.
Also, something for Luke. You'll like this. There will be a complete list of blueprints in the game. Luke, someone found the list.
Someone found the list.
Someone found the fucking list. They don't know where they found it, but they found it.
I reckon it was in Thailander's pocket the whole time.
No, I reckon someone had to someone was tasked that job. They didn't know. Someone had to find out. And they had to go in the game and like count them all and like check that they were all there.
Dude, can you imagine if someone had to go in the game and farm them?
Oh.
To figure out the list.
They would have just gone into code, but I guarantee that no one knew that. They had to find it out. I guarantee.
Yes, so now you're going to be able to see where they drop in game, and it will also tell you which blueprints are missing and where you get them, which is pretty cool. And stash space, Rob, you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. You happy?
Now, can we make this very, very clear? Because some people would have been as stupid as me and turned State of the Game off early and missed this news. Because right before they went to talk about agent highlights, Hamish was like, yeah, we've heard the community about stash space, but we've got no news about that at the moment. And then went to agent highlights. And no offense to anybody who was on agent highlights, but that's normally the point where I turn off.
Literally, I watched it live and everyone in chat was just screaming stash space the whole time because they're like introducing this new loot. And yeah.
I did see a couple of comments being like, dude, if your stash space is full, you need to freaking delete some shit. Which made me laugh. But yeah, stash space is now being upgraded to 300 slots to make way for those additional, 33 named weapons?
35.
To be
Additional.
well, you've already got 2. Yeah, you've already got 2. Rob's doing the maths.
35 additional ones, isn't it?
No.
It's 35 overall.
Well, that's just false advertisement.
Hey, let's
It's
not
not.
talk about that.
Yeah, they didn't address that at all, did they?
No. I don't suspect they will either.
Oh, they were very clear when they talked. Oh, we're going on to PTS now, aren't they?
No, go on.
They were very clear in the fact that none of the new content from the next update will be, well, the new actual content will not be in the next PTS.
actual content, meaning
missions, narrative,
yes,
like narrative content.
Yeah, Pentagon stuff that's coming.
Because
so the PTS is for TU6, not episode 2, even though the two are one and the same.
Yes.
Cool.
But all right, okay. Well, first off, big surprise. There's going to be a PTS. Unfortunately, Rob spoiled it.
What? This is oh, damn it.
Well, I did say big
Actually,
surprise.
we don't know if TU6 and did they clarify that?
Well, they kind of did clarify that episode 2 will drop with TU6 because they're about narrative content.
Yeah, but they didn't say like TUs tend to be separate.
Yeah, title updates tend to be separate to content updates. But the fact that they said about narrative content will not be a part of the PTS.
You're just assuming they did.
That's what we do, right?
Assume piece of content is going to be the
speculate
game for the rest
and
of the
assume
rest of the game's lifetime, and then it's gone within a couple of weeks.
Hey, let's not talk about that. People are upset about
Yeah,
yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, I know. There will be a PTS for Title Update 6. Apparently being announced very, very soon. Luke, any ideas when you think we'll get the PTS?
Friday. That's my guess.
So today, then.
Gotta be honest.
When this podcast goes out.
No, it doesn't go out Friday.
Always goes out on a Thursday, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Tomorrow, then. For anybody who's listening to this, it's tomorrow. And then if
this has already been and gone, you've missed it. Sorry.
Well, just because the podcast comes out on Thursday, some people might listen to. Some people might not listen to it until Monday.
You just rewind yourself then.
He's pretend.
It's one of many skills I have.
He's pretending to be a turkey.
The best bit about all this is that they've stated that TU6 will come out in October.
Yeah.
So at worst, it's 7 weeks away. At absolute worst.
Well, the PTS will be 2 to 3 week phase.
Yeah.
Plus 2 weeks for... Is it a week or 2 weeks for implementation on console?
Friday's probably a good show, actually.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but
it might actually be next week. Fucking hell.
I reckon it's going to be early next week, because didn't they do it on a Monday? Was that Monday, the last PTS? It's pretty
Tuesday,
fucking quick. Monday, maybe. It was pretty quick after when they announced it, and they've literally said it's going to be pretty damn soon.
Console PTS this time, do you reckon?
Let's not talk about that. But yeah, let's be honest, probably not. Unfortunately,
bringing up all these touchy subjects.
It's not touchy. You can touch it. I was going to say that. No, let's not go down there. But like, I think you've got a good fucking point. It's either end of this week or early next week, because of the way they're releasing stuff on the PTS. They're going to do it like they did before, where they're going to release stuff in phases and test specific aspects of Title Update 6. Now, we don't know about the Dark Zone changes, but it would kind of make sense to have a few days on the gear and loot improvements that we already know about. Then everyone's going to jump back in for the Dark Zone and PvP changes, and then maybe there'll be some content for the...
I'm going to guess next
week.
Friday.
Just to be pedantic.
Because...
Just to be wrong.
Because they're not going to release the PTS until after they told us the Dark Zone changes.
Not if they release it in phases. They did it before.
All right. You think I'm going to be wrong? I don't think I'm going to be wrong.
I will be here for episode 175 to tell you how wrong you are.
I just kind of... do you not think that they'd release the PTS and then be like, cool, it's live, and then the maintenance is Thursday? Or was it Wednesday? I can't remember.
It may even be the week after that, 2 weeks Friday. Because in the roadmap, they've got a look to the road ahead.
Cool. Let's not spend another 10 minutes discussing when we think the PTS is going to drop, because it's not fun.
Yeah, it is. One of us is going to be wrong.
Speculation radio is in full swing.
Wow, it takes us back to the days where we have nothing to talk about. I'm guessing when freaking PTSs are coming up. Anyway, over the next couple of weeks, we are going to be talking about the topics.
PTS, obviously.
PTS, depending on when that drops. The topics that they're going to be bringing up on the State of the Game. This week was gear and loot improvements. Next week, Dark Zone and PvP changes. And after that, on September 25th, they're looking at the road ahead. I feel like
they'll announce
going
the PTS
in a circle. I feel like we've already done this over the last 3 weeks, but we're going to do it again, boys. Because at least this shit's confirmed.
Can I just warn everybody right now, there's either going to be a ridiculously happy Luke next week or a really fucking pissed off Luke next week.
Well, if we guessed all the changes, we'll be fine, right?
Well, this is it. Dark Zone and PvP changes, so that affects all aspects, including conflict. So I'm hoping conflict, even if like the Dark Zone shit, I'm hoping conflict's good.
If they change anything about when you get into cover, we know we're on for
we're on for another paycheck.
Yeah, we need some money.
You got anything else to add to that?
No.
Because you look okay. Are we happy with today's changes? Pretty much. Roberts?
Yes.
Luke?
In principle, yes.
Okay. We'll wait and see how this
I'll wait for the PTS
out.
that comes out on Friday.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on some of the things, but majority of it
Luke.
is good.
Hi.
I thought you sat in a chair. Luke?
Surely fence is uncomfortable.
Yeah. It must hurt having that stick up your ass. Sorry, fence post. What was I going to say? Luke, are you going to be checking out the PTS this time around?
Yes.
Robert?
Depends what it is.
Well, hopefully it's
there's something else coming out in October that I want to play.
Friday. Nobody cares. No, I'm joking. If you like that dead game, then have fun. I'm joking. It's a good game. Okay, so down to questions and feedback. We had a few over in Discord. Seamaster GMT said, I like Rob's idea about PvE weapons being offered after completing a bunch of stuff in the Dark Zone. We'll find out if that makes it into the game next week.
That comment was on the 4th of the 9th, 2019. Just that's like a while ago. It was last week.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It was a whole week ago. Sorry, I didn't know what the date was.
Thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome. I just thought that was an important thing to say.
You said it.
Move on.
Doc said good points with regards to his comment on survival Westside Piers. He likes the fact that brand sets are linked to a modifier idea.
Rip.
I mean,
didn't happen.
Half
It
rip.
could happen. Yeah, it could happen. Luke, do you want to read the rest?
When talking about the DZ, I think it was the DZ. No, it wasn't. It was just Doc talking about his loot route. He just wants to run something that's different to his loot route when he gets onto the game. Raids have fiddled out, and he's started actually going back to playing Division 1, just so he's got something other than Division 2 open world tedium to play. And somebody, strangely, wanted to agree with me. Seamaster GMT agrees with me about the Pentagon needing to have replayability, which is kind of obvious, I suppose, after the monotony that was Episode 1's DLCs.
Yeah, I just like the fact I've seen people arguing, it wasn't removed. It was time limited because it's being brought back in the future. I was like, still removed.
Yeah. Was it removed? No.
You're
Is it
wrong.
in the game? No. Then it was fucking removed, wasn't it?
Technically it's in the game, you just can't play it.
Oh, fuck off, Rob.
Okay, so I threw out a quick tweet on Twitter's to find out people's thoughts on the changes that have been discussed today on the State of the Game. Reaper UK 76 says, I was worried at first since adding a load of loot into a huge loot pool would decrease the possibility of getting the one item you want, but targeted loot and farming recalibration changes make things more interesting. However, I'm not convinced that the changes to gear sets will make me want to run a full set, but I'm hoping to see what people do with them. I think that's a fair point, and we've already kind of sat here and kind of had a bit of a theory craft about it, I guess. Lux says, good idea, but we need to wait till next week and after, and I will see if I'm hyped or not, or if I leave the game. I mean, it's a fair point. As Luke saying something else, but there we go. Spectrum74 says, all of the changes so far sound very promising and positive, but more than anything, I'm hoping that the Pentagon is a permanent fixture, unlike Expeditions, and has a replayability with loot to boot. At 528 hours played, I'm starting to hit the lack of endgame wall.
Yeah.
Any comment on the hours played?
That's similar to my hours played.
I was going to say, surprised you only just hit the wall. Anyway. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for questions and, well, it's not really questions, but thank you for all your feedback and thoughts on the topics today. Where can the listeners find us, Rob?
You can find us over at SITREP Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as our personal accounts. Send any questions or feedback for the show to sitrepRadiopod@gmail.com, or you can find us on Discord. The link will be in the show notes. We want to hear your thoughts on the news and topics we cover, so be sure to leave a comment and join the discussion in any of those places.
Luke, you look like you want to say something.
Jazz Club.
I was just wondering when we were talking about Late Night Jazz Club, because you can find us at SITREP Radio on Twitter and Nice Jazz Club.
You're listening to The Love Shop with Rob.
Just channeling my inner, whatever that guy was from the Fast Show.
Welcome to Late Night Talk Radio with Rob Hemsley.
It's a talk show where you discuss other people's problems, and I don't really know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
It's creepy. I was just waiting for the wink at the end of him saying,
"Oh no, don't."
Dude, you get to see it in person in like 2 weeks. Go for it, Luke.
If he winks at me in Bristol, I'm going to knock his face off.
Wink is just an audible thing.
See, now that I know you don't wink, it doesn't help.
I mean,
now it just looks like you're missing a wink.
He might not be missing a wink. He just
like,
can't see it.
I don't know how to wink, and I have to make a noise to compensate. Which isn't the case, by the way. I can wink.
Just not with the eyes that you can see.
He's crying. But not what you think.
Right, ignoring the last 5 minutes, please leave a review of the show using the podcast app of your choice. We genuinely enjoy reading all of them. The feedback is excellent, and at the end of the day, it does actually help other people to find our show. Why the fuck they'd want to, I don't know, but still. If you are brave enough to listen all the way to the very end of this show, you will hear all the juicy details about the other awesome podcasts that are available on the Mash Those Buttons network. Thank you!
The last 5 minutes, dude. It was a bit longer than that. Maybe like 2 minutes in. Anyway, we do live stream as often as we can, so if you're interested in dropping by and chatting with us whilst we play The Division, not for a while, but we're getting back to it. The PTS is coming. We'll probably be streaming it over, if we're allowed, obviously, over at twitch.tv/SITREP Radio, or you can check out Rob playing Destiny at some point. Badly, apparently. I think you're pretty good at it. If not, that's it. We have been SITREP Radio. Thank you very much, agents, for listening, and we will catch you next week when we're going to be discussing, I kind of feel like deja vu, PvP again.
PvP-ness.
Yeah, PvP-ness. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sequence complete. Security protocols deactivated. Server data replaced and CPU destroyed. Terminating connection in 3, 2...
You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secure.